Hello everyone and welcome to my lower body exercise tutorial video. Today we will go through a number of exercises which target the hamstrings or which are hip hinge exercises. We will go through hip thrust exercises as well as lunging movements including split squats as well as step up movements onto a box, both barbell and dumbbell. And lastly, we will go through a number of leg accessory exercises such as different variations of the leg press with bands and balls, as well as simple leg extension and standing calf raise movements, and lastly some glute isolation work. Other than that, let's get into it. The first group of movements are hip hinging movements. In this exercise, we are going to push our hips back and slide down our torso, which will engage our hamstrings. You see, I keep my core braced and I keep my chest up. Focus on pushing back those hips and locking out at the top. We want to make sure you lock out. Same as before, but this time we're doing one leg at a time. We want to plant one foot on the ground and then push back our hips and slide down as slow as we can and then drive up and land on the second leg. We want to repeat this on both sides of the body. Make sure you keep your core tight, your chest is up, and the bar is as close as possible to your shin. Same as before, but this time with a dumbbell. Keep the dumbbells as close as possible. Keep your chest up, push your hips back, slide down, and then lock out at the top. Nice, slow and controlled movement. Keep the core braced and the chest up. Same as before, but now we're performing one dumbbell at a time. Push your hips back, keep the dumbbell close to your shins, keep your chest up and your core braced, control on the way down, and then lock out at the top. Let's move on to hip thrust exercises. The first exercise is off a decline bench. We want to put the bar on the crease of our hips and then kick our hips to the sky and squeeze. All the way down, all the way up, slow and controlled. Keep the heels on the ground, push through the heels, and make sure you get a squeeze and hold at the top. Instead of on a decline bench, we're doing it on a flat bench. This targets more range of motion and hypertrophy based training. Again, grip the bar on the crease of your hip and then lock out at the top by pushing your heels into the ground. Make sure you keep your core braced and your chin tucked so we can keep your core braced. Let's move on to hip and hamstring accessory movements. In the GHD, we want to set this up according to our body dimensions by pushing our toes back and then our heels onto the pad. We want to lower our bodies down by trying to resist the fall with our hamstrings. Once we go as far as we can, we want to kick back and then go and return to the starting movement. This exercise will target all your hamstrings and your glutes. Make sure you keep your core tight throughout this movement and control on the way down and then blast up on the way up. In the Nordic hamstring exercise, this will help with injury prevention for the hamstrings. With a partner pushing down your ankles, you want to try and resist the fall of gravity by using your hamstrings to do this. Go as far as you can and then lower yourself to the ground, push up and do it again. We only want to perform the eccentric or the lowering phase of this movement as it is highly taxing on the hamstrings. Let's move on to lunges and step ups. In the reverse lunge, we want to get into a split stance by having one foot in front of us and then kicking the other one back on our toes. Once we get down to the bottom, we want to push with the heel that's planted and return back to the movement. This exercise will target all the muscles in your lower limb and is great for developing strength. Now we're going to be forming the lunge walking. Plant one foot in front of the other. Make sure you keep your foot on the ground and push through your heel during each step. Keep your core braced, pull that bar onto your traps and continue performing the movement. Now with dumbbells, same concept. Make sure that you push through your heels, you keep your whole feet on the ground, keep your core braced and your chest up. In the barbell split squat, we want to put one foot on a box and the other foot out in front. By going just below the 90 degrees, we want to lower our front leg as low as we can and then push up through our heel. Make sure we kick the leg outwards. We don't want it to be caving in. Similar to before, but this time with dumbbells, Again, make sure you push your knee out on the way down, push through your heel, keep your core braced, and really stay tight. This is a hard movement and a great target for the lower limb muscles. In the dumbbell step up with a box, we want to step up by pushing through our heel with the limb on top of the box. This is one of the best exercises to develop your glutes. Make sure you look straight ahead, keep your core braced, and really focus on following a straight path with your knee. Now with a barbell, make sure you pull that barbell into your traps, and again focus on pushing through your heel as you step up, and then control all the way down and focusing on keeping that knee aligned with your foot. Let's move on to lower limb accessories. The leg press, just a simple leg press. You want to place your feet low towards the pad to target the quads, and keeping your back on the pad, we want to lower the pad all the way down as close as you can to your chest, and then drive through your heels and then stop right before lockout. Now we're performing a one-legged leg press targeting one side of the body. This is great to fix any asymmetries between the limbs. Remember, focus on pushing your knee out on the way down and pushing through your heels. This exercise is a great alternative other than the leg press. Now we're going to be forming the leg press with a med ball in between our knees. This will help engage our adductors on the way down, giving us more support and more stability to work towards our squatting and deadlifting movements. I recommend giving this one a go if you have been performing the leg press for a good amount of time. Now the leg press with a band around our knees. This will help engage our abductors of our hips, which is also involved in stabilization during squats and deadlifts. I highly recommend this one as well. Give it a crack. In the leg extension, we want to set the pad up just so it's on top of our ankles. Make sure we focus on initiating the movement with our rectus femoris, or that big long muscle at the top of your thigh, and slow and controlled movements all the way up, all the way down. As same as with the unilateral version of this one, make sure we control this movement and initiate it with the right muscles, being your quads. All the way up, all the way down. In the prone leg curl, we want to make sure we keep our hips and our lower limb on the pad and focus on pulling that pad with our heels by engaging our hamstrings. Ensure that you really control the movement on the way up and the way down. In the one-legged leg curl, same as before, but this time we're using one leg, and just like before, like I said, slow and controlled, focus on activating that hamstring on the way up and slowly controlling on the way down, and keep your hips on the pad. In the seated leg curl, same as a prone leg curl, we want to slow and controlled movements, keep our whole body still on the seat, and make sure you push through your heel to activate your hamstrings. In the standing calf raise, we want to make sure that we complete full range of motion. We want to place the balls of our feet onto metal bar, and we want to go all the way down until our heels nearly touch the ground, and then go all the way up onto our big toes and squeeze at the top. Control it on the way down. Same as a seated calf raise. Full range of motion. Put the balls of your feet on the pads and all the way up, hold, slowly control it down, and then continue performing this movement. Calf movements are best perfected with slow and controlled movements and full range of motion, like this movement here. In this variation of a calf raise, it's just with a hack squat. You can do this on the leg press or any other leg machine. Full range of motion, again, it follows the same principle. Make sure you go onto your big toe when you are standing up, and then slowly control all the way down and then all the way up. In the glute kickback with a wrap around our ankles, we want to focus on kicking back by initiating the movement with our glute. Slow and controlled, and make sure we keep our lower limb in line or most medial to our body. We don't want to be kicking it out wide. Now, if this variation we're just leaning forward a bit, this is going to help us activate the upper portion of the glute. Remember to make sure you initiate the movement with your glute. This time we're going to be kneeling, and we're going to be performing an abduction movement or a side kick. This is going to help target the outer portion of the glute and help improve stability and mobility at the hip during squatting and deadlifting movements. Same with the side kick, but this time we're standing and focusing on targeting that outer glute. Make sure you squeeze and slowly control all the way up, all the way down. In the reverse hyperextension, we want to arc our back a bit and focus on pushing our hips back and lowering our torso like we did on a Romanian deadlift. And once we reach the peak of the movement, when you can feel your hamstrings, come up and squeeze your glutes at the top. This movement is great in targeting your glutes and your hamstrings. I highly recommend this. In the back focused reverse hyperextension, we are not going to be arcing at the back. We are going to be attempting to keep our back neutral and initiate the movement with our lower back. We are not going to be coming all the way up, just to the point when you feel a slight contraction in your back. In the all fours band kickback, like the cable kickback, we're going to be initiating the movement with our glutes. Make sure you slowly control the movement on the way down and kick back powerfully on the way back. With the side kick on our all fours, same as the cable, we're going to be initiating the movement by attempting to move our knee far away as possible from midline and then control it on the way back. In the standing kickback, like the cable kickback, make sure you keep your knee in line with the midline of your body. Slowly control the movement on the way up and back and kick back as powerfully as possible. Thank you for tuning in to my lower limb exercise tutorial. I hope you found a great insight into all the different exercises and variations of the lower limb. I know there are many, but they all follow the same principles of slow and controlled movement, full range of motion, bracing the core, and I'm sure you'll get the most out of it. If you haven't already, please check out my chest tutorial videos or how to squat tutorial videos. I hope you found this insightful, and I'll catch you on the next side. Have a great day.